Queen Camilla displayed her dancing skills as she joined volunteers at a shop dedicated to supporting survivors of sexual violence during the final day of her and King Charles' state visit to Kenya. The royal couple had initially planned to arrive at the iconic local monument in a tuk-tuk, a popular urban transport in Mombasa. However, heavy rain forced them to reconsider their mode of transportation. They posed next to an eco-friendly electric tuk-tuk outside Fort Jesus, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and eventually hopped inside after the seats were carefully cleaned for them. King Charles jokingly suggested using the tuk-tuk to get to the airport and laughed when reporters mentioned a race. The royal couple was surprised to learn that the electric tuk-tuk could reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, especially when their driver, Eunice Karanja, accidentally started the vehicle slightly. Unlike the older models, these electric alternatives provided a smoother and quieter ride. This particular tuk-tuk was adorned with a traditional Kenyan print design and featured great branding, part of an international campaign promoting the best of Britain. Earlier in the day, Queen Camilla, 76, participated in spirited dancing with members of Saudi Yawanawake, the Voice of Women, at the Situation Room in Mombasa. This center supports volunteers and survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault. The group sang songs celebrating the power and importance of women in society, and Camilla happily joined in the dance, smiling as she moved to the traditional African tunes. Beldino Chino from Saudi Yawanawake praised Camilla's warmth and dance skills, saying, "She is very nice, lovely. I didn't know she could dance like that. We felt she is warm. She is a credit to women." Camilla had previously been informed of the alarming statistic that 40% of Kenyan women experience abuse in their lifetime. Her presence and participation were seen as essential in breaking down barriers in Kenya and fighting the stigma of gender-based violence. The Queen received brightly decorated Swahili shawls called leso, each bearing inspiring messages. The shawls are traditionally used to protect women and cover them during menstruation or childbirth. Millicent of Hiambo, treasurer of Saudi Yawanawake, noted that these gifts symbolize the Queen's support for African women. During their visit, the royal couple also explored Fort Jesus, a historic structure built by Portuguese settlers in the late 16th century to safeguard the port of Mombasa. The fort has a rich history and served as a stronghold for Oman, and later for British interests in East Africa. It was eventually converted into a prison before becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2011. As King Charles marveled at the fort's strategic position overlooking the ocean, Queen Camilla, donning a Fiona Clare print dress, enjoyed local handicraft stalls, despite the rainy weather. The royal visit was a symbol of support for efforts to address and mitigate violence against women, girls, and men in Kenya, with hopes for the exchange of ideas and thoughts. His Majesty King Charles and Queen Camilla embarked on a highly successful 4-day state visit to Kenya, marking the King's first trip to a Commonwealth nation since his accession. Their visit included a series of impactful events and interactions that highlighted various aspects of Kenyan culture and society. One of the primary focuses of their visit was to learn about the effects of climate change on the fort, a historic site in Kenya, and the strategies being implemented to mitigate associated risks. This highlighted the King's commitment to environmental issues and the global effort to combat climate change. During their stay in Kenya, the royal couple also had the opportunity to meet with local creatives who are working to preserve traditional cultural practices for future generations. With support from the UK, these individuals are ensuring that Kenya's rich cultural heritage endures. Additionally, the King and Queen were treated to a captivating performance by a local dance troupe, celebrating the vibrant arts and culture of Kenya. Their visit took place amidst challenging weather conditions, with torrential rain drenching the streets of Mombasa as the royal couple made their way to various appointments. Despite the downpour, enthusiastic crowds gathered to catch a glimpse of the King and Queen, echoing cries of "Long live the King." This fervent reception was reminiscent of their recent trip to Paris. The royal visit was at the invitation of Kenyan President William Ruto, with the goal of celebrating and strengthening the relationship between Kenya and the United Kingdom. This visit coincided with Kenya's preparations to commemorate 60 years of independence. While in Mombasa, King Charles visited the historic Mandri Mosque in the Old Town, established in 1570 and recognized as the oldest mosque in East Africa. The young onlookers cheered and waved from nearby balconies, expressing their support for the king. Inside the mosque, King Charles learned about the mosque's interfaith dialogue work, emphasizing the importance of religious harmony. Queen Camilla, known for her advocacy work against gender-based violence, visited Sadiya Wanawake, also known as the Voice of Women, at the Situation Room. This organization provides essential services to survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, including counseling, therapy, and advocacy. During her visit, Queen Camilla met with survivors of SGBV, gaining insights into the organization's efforts to assist these survivors. She also engaged with a psychosocial support group and learned about the psychosocial therapy support services provided by the organization. The Situation Room also distributes survivor kits containing self-care and essential products for those in need. Camilla discovered how art therapy is employed as a form of counseling for child survivors of domestic abuse, with their artwork sometimes used as evidence in legal processes to hold perpetrators accountable. These activities underscored the Queen's commitment to addressing gender-based violence and supporting survivors. The King and Queen engaged with faith leaders in the region to discuss various community issues. They attended a gathering of the Coast Interfaith Council of Clerics, CICC, an organization representing Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and African traditional faiths. The CICC has been actively involved in peace-building, child protection, preventing violent extremism, and promoting public participation and governance for over 2 decades. Their visit highlighted the shared commitment of different faiths to finding a path to the divine, albeit through different routes. King Charles also inquired about the CIC's efforts to mitigate election violence during Kenya's recent polls, underlining the importance of peaceful and democratic processes. Despite the challenging weather conditions, the King and Queen departed from Mombasa with a ceremonial goodbye, symbolizing the positive impact of their visit on the diplomatic relationship between Kenya and the United Kingdom. They proceeded to Moi International Airport, where they met with the President and First Lady of Kenya and received a salute from the Kenya Defense Forces. The royal couple then boarded the RAF Voyager and bid farewell to their hosts, concluding their eventful and meaningful visit to Kenya. Dear friend, if you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.